Is that the idea? It's all mixed together with the weeds? Just
Well,
with
that's,
those?
I'm gonna take a look. I thought there was, at one point, there was juniper throughout the area there. So
If there was, it's gone,
It's
a lot of
gone,
it's
yeah,
gone. Most
it's
of it's
pretty much
kind
died
of
off.
hanging over the wall,
Yeah,
where the
along the
wall's
front.
lower.
So you have, if I remember correctly, there's a rose bush there and then a weeping cherry.
Yes.
Yeah,
But I
maybe
think
two rose
but I think,
bushes.
did
I
the
think the
snowball
only thing
survive?
that's-
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, that rose bush doesn't look very,
No. But it's pretty, I think it's yellow when it does bloom, yeah.
Might just need some
And
help.
trimming.
All right, let me
Yeah.
just put together a list and see if that'll be helpful.
I'd like to keep it very, very low maintenance.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm.
To-
Well, that's what he's talking about, the xeriscape.
Zero,
You know.
yes, that's what xeriscaping is. It's dealing with native plants in a very dry area that require little to no
Low
water
maintenance.
and low maintenance.
Yeah.
Because
Because,
water
I mean,
issue, yeah.
The weeds that are there, they're not, they were very easy to pull out
Mhm.
when I cleaned up around the outer end of that wall. And, I mean, I was literally just right by the roots, just pulling them
Yeah.
out one by one. And they came out extreme. I was like, wow. okay.
Some of them aren't really deep rooted either, some are
No.
pretty shallow.
Well, if you do it later in the season, that's when it's got all the seed, and when you pull it,
just
all the
flips
seeds
all
go
over the
all
place,
over,
yeah.
and you have 10
So,
times as much
That's
as you
why I
had
would
the
like
year
to,
before.
I'm gonna call them again, actually, I'm gonna send them an email too, to let them know, we're getting into our season now, and I would like to, no weeds,
Get that
because they
done.
won't spray there. They won't.
Mm-mm.
We don't want them to
I
start.
don't want them to
no,
spray.
No,
We're
I
a bird town.
I know. So do we wanna do, minimal at Philadelphia PA Ave the same weekend, March 24th, 25th? Just to
Just to
see
see how far we get,
Yeah.
what we need
how many
for
people turn out.
that area.
I mean, if you get enough people, you could split them up and send some down there. It's not doing it in tandem, but at the same time in different places.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? We have enough people.
Yeah, we said that before, 30 bags later.
Right.
Yeah.
What about, real quickly, because me and Diane went down to the one by the stage at Williamson before the Easter egg hunt, and perked that one up.
That was
Her and
gonna
I
be
knocked
fun.
that out in like
With
an hour and a
flagpoles?
half, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's on our agenda for
Yeah.
tonight,
I'm just
So
to
saying,
ask
yeah.
the Rotary if they need any help for that garden.
I mean,
at Wilson
Diane
Park.
really pruned stuff nice and had
Yeah.
it really good, but I'm just saying, like, to throw
And
bulbs
Easter's-
in.
Easter's April, right?
Yeah.
April 1st.
Are they gonna rip them out again? They put a bunch of bulbs and stuff in there, and by the Easter, they were pulled.
I think they were, they may have been weed whacked.
So maybe bulbs are there. Let's see if they start
Possible.
Bulbs
bulbing
may
up.
still be there, I'm not 100%
Mine are
sure.
coming up already.
Some were pulled out,
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know,
okay.
you know, who
That
pulled them
wouldn't
out.
take too long that day, though, the same
Yeah, but they
weekend.
can't be pulled out, nor should they be weed whacked until, you gotta
Until
let them
they're
die back to the
blooming.
ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was done intentionally.
No, I'm just saying it was done. I mean,
Yeah.
And then if people spend time and effort and money putting them in there, you know, you might as well let them stay and
Yeah,
go
we
through the
usually
blooming
get,
cycle.
They should be popping up.
We usually get the flowers from the fire company, and that's, in the past, that's what I've done.
Mhm.
The flowers that I get from the fire company, I put down at the Rotary Garden.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, are
There's
those,
a little
Annie, are those
benches down there.
necessarily gonna be winter hardy if aren't they kind of forced?
Some that are, it depends on the variety, some that are
Yeah.
forced are not that hardy.
Yeah,
They don't do as well.
yeah. Like the
it's
mini
best-
daffodils, I would think, and things like that, would you?
Actually, I find tete-a-tetes, the little mini daffodils,
Mhm.
they do pretty well.
Oh, okay.
So that's a variety that'll come back each year, even if it was forced, but some varieties don't. You really, there are some varieties that are specifically bred for naturalizing, so that they will, fill in an area and take over, or, come back year after year after year. So
Okay.
sometimes when you have forced ones, they don't do as well, but for the most part, I think most of them that they've used in the past do
Okay.
come back, so. And it would help when you do put them in, even if you're putting them in at springtime, to give them a little bit of bulb food,
Yeah, okay.
okay? A little plant food into the
Some
hole,
bone
the
meal,
bottom
some-
hole, yeah,
Bulb booster?
yeah.
All right, and then summer seed. we need to go back and see what else may need to be done there. We may need to do some more sheet mulching on the side where the fence is.
That'd be great because the dog park cocktail party is going to be
In
May
the spring this year.
19th.
Right.
So that'd be great.
Well, I brought it up at the end of the year, last year, the Martha Washington Garden Club. They are partnering with Comcast, and they want to go to Summer Seat and do a cleanup and possibly do some more plantings.
Oh, what that's.
So we would have a lot more help, which would,
And
I think,
knowledgeable help.
yeah, I think would be fantastic to accent Summer Seat.
So we have to get together with them, on their meetings, let them know.
Can you let me know which meeting you're gonna go to?
Yeah, to call them and find out when they're having their meeting.
You can put it on the beautification page, so we all know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
And
you'll
then-
create an event and
Because
anybody.
last time it
typically
fell the
have
same
their meetings
weekend as
down
the
in
Greystones
the
cleanup,
Oh,
remember?
so
And
it's not
people
too
went,
many people
as
to
went
do
to
that.
Greystones at the same time, so
Yeah.
we gotta watch which one was, shouldn't be that same weekend, we end up splitting people. Remember, it was Greystones at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
Mhm.
have to look at the calendar.
Yeah, so there's three things I think at
yeah,
the
so
same
the
weekend.
area where the fence is, I know we have to do sheet mulching there.
Yeah, there was
That was the
none done
one spot that we did not do. We didn't realize how big of a project
there. And some of, some of
that
the other
back
side
end of
though,
Summer Seat
too, yeah, I think
really,
we
really
we
was.
could do some touch up on some of those areas because
Yeah.
there's some strong plants there, man. They were still coming up, I mean,
Yeah,
you need like,
like the obedient plant.
yeah,
Yeah,
it needs,
it
it
was,
needs a book put on top of there to grow through, not just a, telephone book.
All right.
Just a thought, but for next meeting, do you want to send an email or something to the MEAC and see if you want to coordinate dates for things, so you're not running.
their
into
cleanup,
rush?
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a good idea.
that's a great idea.
Yeah, find out what the dates are gonna be and all that.
Because I would like to help out MEAC when they do their
The
cleanups,
riverfront.
especially the riverfront.
I swear
I enjoyed doing that last year.
I could have sworn I saw those dates.
I saw somewhere in our packet, canal cleanup scheduled for,
7th, Saturday, 7th of
April
April.
7th.
Yeah, and usually around that time
Is the canal going to
is-
still be empty then, I wonder? Might make it a lot easier, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would be great because I was just down there and,
It might be.
yeah, if we could get in there, because you can see
Get
what's
your waders
there.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought I marked down the,
I'll have to maybe coordinate with the
yeah. I don't have
canal
anything
people
for
to
that.
see
Are they
when
gonna
they're.
do the bridge?
Which bridge?
Remember the bridge right here?
Which?
Oh, the, over Bridge Street, the walkway?
No, the bridge, right here, remember,
At Union?
Corinne had said, yeah, Union, that we were on the
Oh.
schedule for PennDOT for 2018.
Really?
Unless something's changed, I can contact Matt Mahaney, but we were on that TIP program and we got bumped down. Some of the other, it was us and 2 other towns that were slotted for the bridges. We were on that list, but we didn't get it. So whether we're in the next cycle or not, we have to find out.
So it's
But
not
it-
gonna be.
Yeah, but it needs, that definitely needs to be
Yeah, 'cause
done.
that was
And,
gonna be done.
and when they're doing it, we had the same thing brought up about doing the ramping, when they're gonna do that behind the brewery, was gonna be, they don't want just anything put up there, because it was told to our engineer, because they had mentioned something about doing some kind of, I guess like a metal type of, I don't know what you would call it, ramping, and they said they wanted historical. They want that to be, because it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Because anything along the canal that's been done on that 60-mile run through the other towns, they have them make sure that it's to the aesthetics of what the town is.
Yeah.
It should be the same thing here.
Yeah.
So,
Because the
and that's a
original
canal
picture
bridge.
there, it's stone.
Right,
It's
Right.
stone,
It
it's
is.
a stone wall.
Yes.
The
Mhm.
bases leading up to the actual bridge
yes.
is stone.
And that's what they
Yeah.
have on the bridges that go across the canal of the county. So you want to keep that same uniformity
Yeah.
down here, especially because you're enticing people to use that canal and to travel down
It's a
and
state
eventually go
park.
up onto
Yeah.
the Bridge Street. So you want that done properly.
Absolutely.
So we'll have to keep an eye on when it finally gets to the point where they're gonna start doing it, because PennDOT is not gonna do it unless you say something to them about how it's being designed. And then the one by the Bridge Street, there was an issue, the last time I talked to the engineers, with the light, the crossing light. Supposedly, they put a moratorium on someone that developed the light, the flashing crossing light, and he was giving everybody that had projects all over the country that, so they ended up stopped any projects that were using that lights, which is what happened with ours there for a minute. But then our engineer redesigned, I guess, what they were using, and he said they came up with another light that didn't have to use this one that this guy was going for a patent for, so they're going to proceed with that. So I believe they're having a meeting soon, I'm not sure the date, with the people that have to do with the financing for that canal. Well, I should say hold the money, they're the ones that are holding the grant stuff. So that is going to still be proceeding, and I believe in spring of 2019 is when that's actually supposed to be, I guess, breaking ground to put it in. So the design on it, I think, is about 70% complete, is what the engineer had said. But it's still, just so everybody knows, it's still moving along.
Yeah.
So eventually, it's gonna get done.
Eventually. All right, and then we're gonna be very busy this year. Very busy. So,
The garden, can we talk about the garden?
just so everybody's aware, the permit for the detention basin
Uh-huh.
will be here most likely in March.
Mhm.
So that'll be another project that we're going just to work alongside with
Samantha.
Gilmore
Mhm.
and Samantha for that area.
Mhm.
So it's not something that we are going to take on. That's something that we
Well,
have
it's just
to
them doing it.
work
Yeah.
with the engineer for that area.
Yeah, I believe Samantha said that once they, I guess, do the design of what they need to do
Correct.
down there to correct the water issue, so that it's flowing properly,
Right.
and she's really good with that.
That's on
Our
Monday.
part as
Mhm.
beautification that she brought up with at the meeting would be the planting part of it,
Right.
to help with that sort of stuff.
Well, to that end, I'm going to be going to the Land Ethics Symposium at Del Val in March.
Okay.
And one of the speakers is discussing stormwater retention basin planting.
Wow,
Okay.
great, yeah.
So I'll be attending
Really
that
good.
and.
So then possibly at our March meeting,
You'll have it.
you can
I'm
bring back
gonna-
that information
Yeah,
for
I'm
us.
gonna
Wow.
get as much as I can, I'm gonna see if I can pick this person's brain some.
Yeah,
Because
that-
there are periods, it's a whole day long conference, and there are periods
Yeah,
where you can
I just
talk
wanted
with
everybody to know that, I know Mike had brought it up last year, and a couple of the other residents wanted something for, in that area, because you have this huge
Mhm.
piece
Basin.
of land that you really can't use, and they get a lot of mosquitoes and
Oh,
bugs
yeah.
and things like
They'll
that.
find it.
The
It
bullfrogs
doesn't
just
look like
are
it's
not,
graded right to
It's
go
not.
towards the
the bullfrogs just are
runoffs.
not cutting it.
Let's just
You know,
actually,
that they put
Those
there.
frogs have gotta step it up, man.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help, there's so many little kids around there, they find the frogs and.
And they're gone.
They're
Yeah.
gone, they take them home.
well, it just really worked out that is something that we are required to do as an MS4
Right.
town.
Yeah, we do have to.
There's
So-
a certain percentage of stormwater management
Keep
in
that
our,
on
in our
your,
plans.
you know, in the back of your mind, that is a project that is gonna be moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know what the
And then
plans
we're
are
gonna have
be,
to, you know, we'll be at the mercy of the engineering firm when
Yeah.
they do that work.
Yeah,
The
so
plants
look at the
need
timelines
They'll
on
let
that.
Mike know it will be
Yeah,
done,
well,
it's just,
That's what this is
That
all
might
about,
work, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
you
we
know,
just
and
gather all
I'm
the
perfectly fine
information.
with that.
Well, it's good if we get all the information for it, so that it's something that we can present to them when they come
Right.
and speak about it. We'll be prepared to say, this is
Exactly.
what you found out, and I'm sure she's gonna be thrilled about it.
I mean, I've worked on rain gardens and done water gardens in other projects as a master gardener, and there are master gardeners within the county who have worked on these
Okay.
projects at other places.
Okay.
So we already have a base of knowledge, but this is going to be a specialist in this area. So it'll be good to just get
Yeah.
all that more
Yeah.
information and any kind of specific things,
Okay.
you know, so.
We'll keep it posted as the engineer moves along with that, and the grant gets read, and we're given what we need, and
Right.
they'll be able to tell us the timeline of what they're gonna do with that, but that's kind of a neat project coming up.
Yeah, that's good, that is gonna be something really nice. And it's gonna look really nice.
about the garden?
Yes, last but not least, we did get the okay to move forward with the raised beds. I know, everybody's
At the
excited.
senior center.
At the
yes.
senior center, it'll be in that fenced-in area
Perfect.
behind the senior center. So now we need to, what I'd like to do is talk to Bristol Borough's Garden Club and see how they got started.
Laid it out.
What was the first thing you did? Was it getting the wood and putting the beds together? Was it measure, well, obviously you want to measure out the space first.
Yeah.
See how many beds we can get in there.
Gotta make it ADA.
What size bed
Oh,
you
it will
want,
be.
yeah.
It is, yeah, it is,
It
because it's
is.
on macadam, so.
I took photographs of our area with the water sitting in it.
Because
And
no one
to
can
see,
figure out how it's
and
raining.
actually to see the size and the fencing and what condition it was
Poke a hole
all
in
in.
one
And
of those
actually the
berms, right?
fencing is in very good condition.
Shove a
It
pipe
uses a
through
little
it or
work on the
something.
gates, stuff like that, but it actually is, it's high, just like the one in Bristol, and it's in actually really good condition. If we could do something to grade that asphalt a little bit better for the drainage on some of that, that'd be good.
They could find the high point, they could just, at an angle where the berm is and the blacktop, drill holes there and put PVC pipe and run it right down to the storm drain that's right there at the edge of it.
Take a look
That's
at
all
that.
they have to
We
do
have
is
to look
find
at
out where the
it.
high spot is, and you know that's
Water
where, or where
sits
the
there.
water
She's
sits, a
got
lot,
pictures of
a
that.
It's
lot,
an inch or so.
more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's only an inch, once you
No, it's
put
more than an
raised-
inch.
Well, I was gonna say, because
Yeah.
if it's,
Is
depending
the
on
beds
how
right
much
on top
water
of
it
it?
is, once you
Well,
put
that
raised
person.
beds
Yeah,
in
they'll
there,
absorb it.
it's gonna be soaking up the water
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay.
Right.
to some degree.
I
Yeah.
figured I deliberately shot the pictures when water had been sitting down there, but then I went to Bristol and took photographs down there, so Mike put
Alright,
it together.
so we're gonna do a little slideshow.
Okay.
Mike was very nice, Mike Yeager. Was very nice to put this slideshow together. I know, Justin, you can't see it. I'm sorry.
So we're gonna take it eventually to a meeting and put it on PowerPoint.
So,
Scoot over so I can see it.
Yeah,
this just is the background of what we do, some of our completed projects. And then this is, he just goes through the slideshow and shows, Robert
Mhm.
Morris. And then,
I think you can just hit
I don't
down, don't you,
I'm
Justin?
trying to hit
Hit the
down.
next slide, don't you just hit the down
yeah.
arrow?
Get our tech support there.
Oh, there it
She's,
is.
she's trying to click, she's actually trying to mouse and click on them.
Yeah.
Can't you just hit the
All
down
right, so
arrow?
there's the plaza. Oh, that's a pretty picture. And then this is
Yeah, go
down
up there a
The
little
Philadelphia Avenue.
Philadelphia and Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah.
bit.
And then this is Summer
Summer
Seat,
Seat. Look how nice that looks.
Are there befores and afters or just afters?
befores and afters. All right,
We could.
and then of course we have the Heritage Center. That was a fun cleanup,
That was.
taking
I
down all
missed
that
it.
vine. Oh, look,
Somebody's
the
dog-
bench.
Somebody's dog is there. Oh.
The bench. Now, Mike did say that, this is the cover
Burrow
dog.
dog.
He does need to get a new picture of the library with the bench in place.
The bench
This
looks
was
good.
taken
It does look
pre-placement.
I can't wait for it to start blooming up there.
I know, it's gotta look beautiful, and people are gonna be sitting there. and
I'm
it's-
real excited
That's exactly
about
what
it.
it
Oh, there's
should
the
be.
water.
This
There's the
is,
Okay.
Okay.
this is the area, okay, that
Okay.
we want to do this garden. So there's the fencing.
They're going to have to fix the gates.
Oh, that's down in Bristol.
Yeah, that's Bristol.
Yes, Bristol.
The locks on
I
the
sent
gates are
over some
broken.
pictures.
Oh, there's Bristol.
All right, so you can kind of see behind the gate what Bristol's
Yeah.
looks like.
I ran into somebody's kid down there, they let me in. I got inside
So
and yeah.
here's
and took
their
pictures.
raised beds.
So what's that, maybe 18, 24
They were different
inches maybe?
sizes, because they have two areas, and some were bigger, some were smaller for a toddler, a small child to work with.
Great.
Some were ADA, so
So
they were
they're like
different.
3 feet or so?
Yeah, so they were all different sizes.
So I'd like to come up with a plan about starting this project, the first phase, the second phase, and how it's going to be maintained
They had
and
their lumber donated.
sustainable.
Yeah, they
You
had
know,
their lumber
who's going
donated.
to lock it at the end of the
What
night,
they
who's
use,
going
4x4s?
to open it, who's allowed in there. I'd like, to coordinate with when, whatever they plant, I would like to do, put together a meal and have a meal at the senior center.
That'd be nice, a salad.
Yeah, they do a harvest, that's what they do, is a
Yeah.
harvest dinner.
Harvest dinner, yeah.
So
They actually
whatever
have a
fruits,
picnic area under there, which
vegetables,
is kind of cool.
herbs, things like that,
Mhm.
and coordinate that with the senior center. I think it would be something very
Mhm.
nice. And I think we'll get a lot of seniors
Oh, they would love it.
that,
do that.
are gonna wanna do a raised
Mhm.
bed.
Especially if they don't have a
Easier.
yard, yeah.
They did do vegetable gardening alongside of the Pennsylvania Avenue side of the building. They put a garden in this
Yeah,
year.
Did
They
they?
have
did,
been,
yeah.
Wow, very
Yeah, they
nice.
have
Yeah,
been.
So I
by the
think this
barn
may
there.
be, I know they do, what they plant in the garden, they do cook.
Mhm.
So
And
I,
also Grandview Garden has been donating produce to the senior center,
yeah,
or excess produce, so.
Very nice.
so,
I was really impressed going down there and see how they set up. They, actually where the picnic area was alongside the parking lot, they did a overhang for shade. They had a small shed that was put in for their tools and stuff. Rain barrels, they had some rain barrels there. You really should go down and
I mean, I
take a
think
look at
we
it.
should,
It's-
going forward with this, I think doing a rain barrel would be huge.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this way you're not
Yeah.
dragging the hose
Mhm.
Across the entire parking
across
lot.
the entire parking lot.
But
Possibly
there
putting a
will still be
barrel,
times we have to
you
bring a
know,
hose on.
They have it set up.
So right now you have to bring a hose from the senior center
Yeah.
across.
Yeah, there's no water.
I think that's something to think about looking into, is getting a
Spigot out there.
Mhm.
a spigot there.
Mhm.
That, if you're talking
Right.
community garden, that is what they have.
Right.
At
They do.
most
I
community
don't
gardens.
know if there is,
They would have to bring a
There's
line
no
out.
hookup over there.
I didn't.
Because
No.
when you enter their gate, right there, there is a spigot that you can put your, and they have at several locations hoses on a wheel. And
You can
wherever
just
you're,
hook up where you need
right,
to be.
and whoever's doing the section that they're doing. And then the rain barrels are the additional water
Yeah.
that
Now,
they're using.
the rain barrels typically come off of gutters and things though, right? I mean, if they're just sitting out in the open, they're
Well,
not
if you
gonna
have a
collect
shed.
necessarily that
Right.
much.
If you get a shed or
Right.
an overhang,
Right,
The overhang
the
is,
position
put a gutter on
those.
Right.
the overhang.
that's where one of them is
Okay.
sitting,
So
yeah.
then the shed would have to be
A
obviously
pitched roof
inside.
and a gutter on it, yeah.
Because, I mean, we have only so much size in there, so we'd have to, I think, Justin, you came up with some kind of measurement from aerial shot, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah.
Approximate?
Was it 50 by 150 or something like that?
Something,
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
about right. I would
But I'm
think.
thinking, if we started off, and even if it was a small, to see how it takes off
That's
and
how
who
they
wants to be
started.
involved.
Yeah.
We're
And
gonna have
that,
a room behind it.
right,
Make it bigger.
it's still our land back
Mhm.
there. So if it was one of those things where it took off, I'm sure we could probably get the funds together to expand it a little bit more
Mhm.
and to add additional area for it. But it'd be nice,
Start
because
small.
right now, this isn't being used at all.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna make,
And it's free
use of it.
mosquitoes.
if it didn't work out, no harm, no foul, it's just gonna be taken apart and it's back to the asphalt.
Well,
That is.
the borough manager, our current interim borough manager, has connections through Home Depot.
He does.
So
Yes.
he's,
They may
I,
donate.
see if you can get your lumber for
Yeah.
a certain number of boxes through him.
Yes.
Even if you start with, I mean, they did it over time, and they
Right.
started, Bristol charged a fee to
Right.
certain, for a certain size, and then it was it's discounted for veterans, and it's discounted for, I think it's also a senior citizen discount as well. So that the money goes back into it, but also it helps to continue buying the supplies. So
Right.
it becomes self-sufficient. But
Right.
they got their lumber donated, and they got their soil donated for the first, and they did, I'm trying to think, I think Donna said they started with maybe 15 to 20 beds the
Okay.
very first year to see how it went over,
So I guess I have to talk
and then it
to,
went from there.
yeah, I guess I'll talk to Scott because we're a subcommittee as opposed to a resident one, which is what they
Right.
are. Eventually, that's what that should be.
Right, it should get to that.
Have you contacted the gentleman who wanted to start the community garden
Wayne
down?
guy?
I couldn't find, I thought I kept the information on it. I cannot
His
find
name's
it.
Wayne,
And
I can't remember his last
yeah.
name.
I did have it, I have no idea where the stuff is. The MEAC might know who he was
Yeah,
and find out from there. But if we do it as the subcommittee, even if we were to help get that started, any funds that would be collected whatever reason that's gonna be, would be escrowed. Because you have to show where that's coming in and coming
Right.
out,
Yeah.
because we're that
Separate
subcommittee.
fund.
Right, we're not a 501c like a private would be. But we're thinking if we could get this initiative going and at some point be able to transition that to residents wanting to do it, you know, but we thought it might be a neat idea if we actually get it going.
Right.
And I don't think there'll be a problem, so I'll have to talk to the manager about it. I've mentioned it before when Mr. Stubbe was in there, that if funds were gonna be put in or donated in, or whatever the case may be, or raised, a fundraiser done, that it shows where it's going, and that dedicated escrow would then go for whatever you're gonna be using for this, until you would make that transition, if that's the case.
So I would like to go and meet with the Bristol Borough group that started.
This,
Well, the
There.
guy I talked to, his mother is big with this group, and he said that they can send someone also from their group. There was a gentleman I met when I was down in Bristol that works with them, and he even would come out and give you a presentation at your meeting. It's how they did that. So I think if we reach out to them, maybe we could get someone to actually come to our meeting and do that. So we could try that.
Okay.
And there's also, like, within the town, different residents are making their own little gardening groups. So maybe reaching out to those groups to see if you can get some representatives come from there, because if you want to eventually transition over
Yeah.
to residents,
Mhm.
those might be the
Start
core
getting them
people.
involved.
Yeah,
Right.
because we're thinking because it's borough property, we can work with them, you know, but it really should be a citizens group. We can initiate that and get this started and help them on our end, whatever way we can. Whether it's the manager has an in to get in with Home Depot or somebody to get some funds in somehow, or free lumber, or whatever that case may be, we'll reach out to whoever has those connections to do that. But it'd be really neat if it's a citizen group that's doing it and we're just assisting them. That's the way it should
Well,
be.
the other thing is, I think it should also be coordinated with the library possibly, that we get more, we have master gardeners, as part of the master gardener program, there are master gardeners who come in and give talks all the time. And in the speakers group, there are people who talk about vegetable gardening, seed starting, all of that, composting, rain barrels, how to make your own rain barrels. So if that's another piece that we can talk to the library and see about working with them to then have the master gardeners, more master gardeners come in to give presentations to also piggyback on this and get more
Right.
residents interested.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great
So-
idea,
Yeah.
you know, because I'm not that green thumb, I'm learning, but there's a lot of people in town better than me.
And I usually
yeah.
put
I can
information on vegetable
Yeah,
growing
that's-
at both in the pamphlet holder down here and the one at the library.
Okay,
Typically, starting
No,
in
I didn't.
April, March or April, I'll put those in there. So
Probably
that
overwatered it.
there's
Okay.
information available for residents that way too.
okay. Well, how could we put this out there for residents that we want to do this then? Do you think it'd be something we should do at a meeting and just
Put it up on the
dedicate
TV
one of our
scroll, too,
meetings to
maybe?
gathering
I
the
think the
people
TV is
together?
going- Yeah.
And see if we can do that maybe, and put a flyer out that says this meeting's dedicated to the community garden.
Put it on our website too.
In the kiosk and let them know that maybe we're gonna be able to get a master gardener
Put it in the
in.
library, yeah.
And
Do we
then,
want to do it
If
at
you're
a beautification
interested, you know,
meeting
keep it in
or
mind.
council meeting?
I would think of the beautification, and
That's-
whatever's
okay,
gonna
that's
be,
the way I was
could
going.
eventually go with a presentation to the public. But I think if you get, it advertises who's wants to be in the gardening thing, it eventually start to take off and people will find out about it. But I would think to bring them in a small group, because us as a subcommittee could do that. We could take this meeting and say, this will be your time to come in, and we'll set everybody up to have that presentation with each other.
And I can send you a link, if I gotta remember the name of the PDF, but there is, Penn State has PDFs about how to start
Okay,
community gardens.
all right.
So it goes through, so you don't have,
Steps.
yeah, so
Okay.
let me send you a link to that, so you can
Okay.
take a look at that too.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And then, any dates set up for dog park yet? For cleanups?
Not yet. But I do want to say, this year I am entering it in the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society garden competition.
Very nice.
That and Grandview
Okay.
are going to be
Yeah,
entered.
see Grandview.
It's
So,
beautiful. It's
Um,
absolutely beautiful.
uh,
I just gotta get over there.
Well, hopefully there's more stuff going in, so this year at Grandview. But, yeah, both the dog park and Grandview, if we can enter them. And then, just so you know, community gardens, vegetable gardens are something that are able to be entered too. So if this gets up and running,
Oh, wow.
that's another thing.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because I want to know, Morrisville's starting to get a reputation of being a really good gardening
Mhm.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really, I took the tour with the gardens,
Last year, yeah.
and I was really
Yeah,
impressed
a lot
with
of people
the
out.
gardens.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
That garden tour, but just Martha Washington came in for the
Mhm.
last 2 years
Yeah.
and have been here.
Mhm.
And to do a garden tour, and then also the just Pennsylvania Horticultural Society. They're impressed with the gardens in Morrisville. And they're impressed with the fact that we are doing an initiative to do more stuff.
Mhm.
So I think we've got to keep that ball rolling. I know there's a whole bunch of other stuff to work on in this town, but I think this is one piece.
Yeah.
One piece.
I think if we give the area to do it in is what everyone's been looking for. So if the borough helps out on that end and says, this is an area we could use, and there's, like I said, there's extra area that's unused if we needed to expand it at some point, it's an area that definitely could be used for that. And so I think if we do that, it's gonna kind of coordinate and maybe get something started. Because right now, there hasn't been a dedicated area to try and do something, and you haven't had a beautification group that will coordinate it on the borough end. So we'd be that communication piece, and I think that would help a group that wants to do it, so.
All right, one last thing. I have a resident that's reached out to me, and she has a tree that's in a pot that she would like to have a new home.
Tree in a pot.
It's
It's a free tree.
A pot
Is
tree.
it a white pine?
I mean, right, yeah.
I don't know trees. I kill cactuses for Pete's sake.
It looks like it's a pine. Yeah, it's some kind of pine.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, but this poor tree is in her backyard, very lonely, and would like some friends to hang out with.
I mean, that's something, pines are an important thing, so that's something, honestly, we're low on our species down in Williamson
I was
Park.
just
I
gonna
was
say,
gonna
Williamson
say
could probably
Williamson
use
Park.
it.
The other thing.
I'd like to find a home
How
for
big
this
does it
tree.
get, Annie?
It gets about 70, 80 feet.
Oh,
What kind of pines are in the median between Hamilton Boulevard? I know they've
I
cut a
have
few
to
down.
take a look, I believe they're white pines, but I'm not sure. I have to take a look.
yeah, we lost a
I
lot.
mean, it would take a long time to get it that big though, right?
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
take a while.
But this was a tree that she got from Pico
Oh, that
as
could
part of that big program.